What is up, Cabbage Crew? It is Matt and John here reviewing our last full review before we start our reactions of specific episodes. We're going to be doing a review of Dragon Prince episode 9, Wonderstorm. It is the finale of season 1, which was Moon. So we're going to get into that. It's going to be a semi-shorter review because we're not going to be talking about anything else for what we think is going to be the future or anything else besides just this specific episode, because we are going to be doing an entire review of season 1 as a whole, as well as predictions, theories, negative strengths of the entire first season. So definitely check that one out. This is going to be coming out on Wednesday. So our final review of the entire season will be coming out on Friday. So definitely check that out. So let's just jump into this episode.
Yeah, do you know what would be a really good strength right now?
Oh, really? What?
Do you know what would be really good strength right now?
Strength?
Yes.
Please subscribe.
Exactly. You got it. I'm proud of you.
Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your uncles. I guess that's family too.
Tell anybody on the street.
Tell everyone on the street. Yeah, definitely. If you know anyone that, again, likes anime, likes just watching reaction videos, we're gonna be doing reactions, reviews to not only this show but other shows similar to this, as well as some Avatar: Last Airbender content as well. So let's now jump into it. Episode starts with Ezra just dropping a ball on us. Yeah, just dropping.
I actually hate everything.
You hated this episode?
I'll admit this was a terrible ending to a season. Like, I was not here for it, I'll be honest.
He ended weak. I will say that. So yeah. Yeah.
Continue. I'll just continue.
So Ezra just kind of drops a random fact on us that he talks to animals or understands animals. Something that Callum even knew about, but they didn't mention it. They didn't mention it to Rayla before. I mean, they've been traveling with this girl for probably I would say a week. Never mentioned it to her. Never mentioned. I mean, no one's ever mentioned it. Which it just, again, it's like it's interesting that we're learning about these characters, but that's something that we should have known for the first episode or two, and then they slowly kind of got us there. So by the end of the first season, they utilize it for something that, like, oh, now we know why they have this character. They have this character have this power in the story. Kind of makes sense now. Which, by the way, we don't know why he understands animals. Like, there's no power.
There's no explanation.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I guess this human being does. We might find out later.
Just pause for a second and just like imagine the cliffhanger of last episode.
Yeah.
There actually is no healer. And it's like dun, 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 dun. And then we start the finale. So I talked to animals. And Ava told me.
Yeah,
and she just, and then Alice is just like, I believe you, Ezra, but Ava was there with me.
We saw it. It's just,
it was so bad.
It was just not written well. I will say this is the first episode because we've been on the same page, right? The writing of this episode this series has been hit or miss. Of the entire series, but it's mainly scene to scene, right? Some of the comedy doesn't land, or maybe there's an awkward scene where you're like, that could have been written better, or maybe they try to force feed you information because it's all kind of understandable. This episode, I don't even think was bad written. Like, I think the jokes landed for the most part. I don't think the plot of this episode was bad. Where that's usually the strength.
Yes,
the strength of the series is usually, well, the plot's really good. And the world building is really good. But this episode did the opposite. It was like the world building seemed like off because it was just like it was convenience. There was a convenient like last thing I want in a finale of especially like a fantasy show, I want you to slowly build things up so by the finale we can have payoff. But like we're learning things in this finale that we never learned before. Not even that we never learned it before, but it's like the opposite of what the show has told us before. So we're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like I thought Ezran was just a human prince. If he has this power of understanding animals, okay, he's important. Like he knows something, like so it's just I mean this will be later, but the dragon egg can hatch during a storm. What?
And it can only hatch during a storm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the plot of
And
this
he
episode
just
was really bad.
anyway. Well, yeah,
yeah, and we'll get there. So I agree. I don't understand. I don't like I did like the raccoon reference thing he said, where he was like, "Yeah, I told them about the treasure," and he was like, "Well, the treasure wasn't there." And he's like, "Well, finds out raccoons are, kind of lie." It's like I thought that was funny. I will admit, I thought that one was pretty funny.
No, my favorite. No, honestly, like Callum was. I lived vicariously through Callum in that beginning scene, and I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't deal with Ezran's bullshit, right? So like, he's like, yeah, of course this happened, and this happened once before. Ezran, remember when you're talking about the mischievous raccoons?
The raccoons, yeah.
And this is like, and at the end of it, he just goes, and you wonder why you can't make friends. I'm like, as soon as that happened, I just slow clapped. I just was like, thank you. You're speaking for all of us.
Yeah, it was just bad. And even like the Claudia joke wasn't bad. And we'll jump to just them in a little bit. But like I like doing it by we'll do plot by plot because there was really like last episode, it mainly focused on the main crew and it only jumped to them for a split second. I would say maybe a total of 5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, that was just done really bad. And this they're hearing voices and they hear, this spider thing, that's kind of like stalking them and jumps at them. And, and again, it's like, they come, he attacks them a couple times, or I should say that Rayla goes and finds a dying body or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
creepy.
Yeah, they're kind of creepy. Yeah. And the spider attacks but then going back to the beginning, it's like he can talk to animals. And he realizes this isn't what a spider sounds like. This isn't a real animal. And then, you find out it's not a real animal. You don't know what it is yet, but it's not an animal. And it's one of those things where it's like he confronts it, and by him confronting it, it no longer is trying to kill them for some reason,
right,
or attack them, or whatever it was trying to do, because we really don't know what it was trying to do to them. It's just now, and again, it's like a very fast-paced lesson where it's like Callum's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't believe in you.
right.
I'm sorry, you were right," and it just, none of it really clicked for me. I think it's just because the whole base of the entire episode was based off of Ezran having this power that we never heard of before, that it just came out of nowhere, plot convenience. Like, why didn't Ezran say, "Hey guys, this girl's telling the story and the dog's telling me it's bullshit"? Before they even went up the mountain, it's like, "Hey, this dog that's sitting here, he's sitting there like, like, no, the dog's telling me she ain't right on her story."
Right.
Now you can just pick, again, I hate to do it, but now you can just pick things apart. Throughout the entire, we've seen multiple animals. We've seen them react with multiple animals. What about the fish that was trying to eat them? He didn't talk to him. It's like, I mean, like, seriously, like every episode they've encountered something that's trying to attack them. And you're telling me this whole time you've got to communicate with all of them? Just didn't like it at all.
It was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the more I think about it, because I turned this on 3 minutes after I watched the episode. But the more I think about it now, the more it's worse. And then, again, going back to the, I could do a little chicken dance, and he does a little dance. And it's like, God, this is Dora the Explorer cheesy. Like this is something you'd see in a legit children's show.
Yeah.
Because Avatar always did a great balance of sometimes it's cheesy stuff, but it's something that you can not even get over, something you can kind of laugh at a little bit as an adult, even the goofy stuff, either if it's the guy gargling because he's having like a freaking aneurysm when he sees the Avatar, or whenever there's a joke and it doesn't land and it's like at the end, or just some of the jokes they made in season 1 that are kind of childish, but it's like, okay, it kind of works. Like this is just like, what adult is sitting here being like,
honestly,
he's doing the fool dance. Like it was just so bad.
Yeah.
No comment on that.
Proceed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I hate to. I know the audience, loves this show, and I'm not trying to shit on the show because I think overall the show.
Oh no, we have to give it. We have to be honest with ourselves.
No, we have to be honest. That's what I'm saying. I'm not shitting on the show because I think the show
is. No, be honest.
We're no, John.
We're not the entirety of the show.
That's what I'm saying. This episode was bad. I'm not shitting on the show because I think overall the show has been good. I think there's a lot of things to look forward to. This episode was bad. That's what we're saying. Okay. And look, if you don't think it's bad, cool, comment below. Maybe tell us why you don't think it's a bad episode. But I think it's the weakest episode. So this might be just us. I'm sorry, I apologize, but this might be us shitting on it for 20 minutes. That's why I said this was going to be a shorter episode, because I knew we both didn't like it. And I don't want to shit talk something for 30, 40 minutes. Because again, I think the overall show is good. It's not like we're watching a shit show and we just want to crap on it. So, they get past the spider. They get to the main tree that she was at.
It kind of came out of nowhere. Like
the tree?
They just suddenly appeared out of the woods. That was just like, when did they just leave?
Yeah.
Like when?
Yeah, well, and also it's like, I will say this. The one thing I appreciate is I remember I was like laughing and I was like, this little girl's telling this story. Why didn't they attack this little girl? How did she make it through?
Mm-hmm.
We will find out. It makes sense now. But I agree with you. It's like you're on this huge mountain. You find this, I guess this angel healer only appears at this one tree. Okay, cool. I just think they could have done this whole sequence a little bit better. So yeah, this elf, what's the elf's name again? Lujan shows up. You find out through Rayla that, hey, this is actually just the what is it? The moon healer. What is it? A moon
healer.
Elf. A moon healer. Are you sure? Because it doesn't heal.
Well, it was the quote unquote moon healer.
Okay.
Like before the finale, they called it the moon healer.
Yeah, I don't know I forgot what they call them, but it's just essentially an elf. And right. And maybe it's more than that. This character might be in the series long term, who knows? But for us, it's just it looks like it's just an elf, maybe a protector of the mountain or something, that whatever it is.
She's a moon mage.
A moon mage.
Who's an illusionist.
An illusionist. But and again, it's like, okay, so are the illusions, or are they actually things that they can create? Because like that spider fell and like crashed and like dirt came up. Like, I mean, those webs came out of somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was a real person or that was part of the illusion as well. Maybe it was. I mean, that leech thing that was attacking them, is that an illusion? Because that thing like was actually legit attacking them. Like they jumped on it. It hit the tree. Like it was real. So it's like sometimes illusions can be real illusions. When I think of illusion, I think of a hologram. Sure. If this is like a Loki illusion, which is like, I can make an illusion of a sword and then use the sword to cut your head off. Like, okay, that's interesting. I don't know, because that spider, they were physically touching this. The spider was spitting on it when it was screaming at them. So it's like, again, confusion / sloppy writing / I don't know. Maybe we'll learn more about this mage.
The
too.
illusion confusion.
Yes, the illusion confusion. A very confusing episode.
But just to add on to more of like Blue Jan's character, is that she is the guardian of the moon nexus.
There you go. Yeah, so not even a healer, which I think and then it's like, okay, come to find out that the leg was fake, which is like, okay, but if it was just an illusion, then is the dog actually running on 3 legs, or is it a real leg that she just created, like manifested out of thin air, like a Wanda kind of thing, where it's like, I
because
can
Ava was
create.
hurt, right? Like she didn't normally.
The dog was missing a leg
the entire time. Yeah.
And they thought it was going to die, so it healed its leg and made a new leg. So it's like, oh,
so Ava just accepted it.
Again, I don't know, because
not Ava, Ellis.
No, Ellis thought she was healed too. Everyone thought it was healed.
But Ellis just accepted 4 legs now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, she just thought it was healed. So it was like, oh, cool. You're a healer and you just made a new leg, which is odd. But it's like, no, it was just an illusion. But it's like, okay, it was an illusion in the sense of the dog saw 3 legs, but everyone saw 4 because people just saw a fake leg that was not actually there. Or does this dog actually now have 4 legs, and the illusion is just a leg that's just manifest, like Wanda does, what she can just, Scarlet Witch can manifest and create actual things in this world. So it's like, I'm gonna make a hat, boom, hat's here. It's like, was that what happened? Or like, does this dog actually have a leg that was just created, and it's a fake leg in the sense of it's a created leg by this magic person? Or is that leg not really there? And then like the mage was like, did something and the leg went away. So it's like,
right.
It's just all really confusing. The magic of this series has been so good and so consistent. And it's like, they're teaching us things. And then that's like I was kind of saying before. It's like they went backwards. It's like, okay, well, now I'm confused about how the magic works in some of these, for this episode and this character. Going back to just the plot being bad. So yeah, I mean, they're saying the leg's dead. Callum makes the storm, which again, smart idea. He breaks the stone. I don't know how he knew that was going to happen. I don't think anyone told him at any time, like, hey, if this stone breaks, like a huge storm is going to happen. like if he was told that, maybe at one point, it would have been like, it came back around. Like he was told in episode 3, like, make sure you don't break the stone. But like Claudia said something to him, like, don't break the stone, it'll cause a hurricane. And he's like, too bad, I'm grabbing it and stealing it from you. And then he remembered that. But it's like, okay, he could have just broke the stone, it turned to dust, and it's like,
no more primal stone.
No more primal stone. I just broke it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess the storm happened, and the dragon has been born. Like I predicted, I said that the dragon prince will be born by the end of the episode and the season, which I like. Cool. Yeah. We see the dragon prince.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and its name is Len, I think.
Zim.
It's a really weird name.
Ozymandias.
Why? What does that mean? Why do they name him that?
I don't know what Ozymandias means, but Zim is the
name. It's just weird they named him such a weird name.
Well, no. Okay, so Ozymandias. Zim is Azim.
No. I'm just wondering why they named him Ozymandias, whatever that name. That's
it's
weird
a dragon name. I mean, whatever.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, his name's Zim. Cool. I like the look of Zim. Zim or Zin?
Zim.
I like the look of Zim. I do. I will say I spoiled it for myself. I have seen Zim before. I don't know what season it was. I just saw a picture of him. So because I was doing some
yeah.
thumbnail stuff. So it's like I just typed, I just saw him. I didn't know if it was a season 5 picture of him or a season 2 picture of him. But I like him. I like what he looks like. I guess he has teething or something because he just rips the wristband
Assassin's
off.
bind.
Huh?
The assassin's bind.
Yeah, he just rips it off. Like, okay, I guess. I guess that story arc's just over. Like, I thought there was going to be something a little bit more to that. I thought maybe there was going to be some climatic, some story, something that happens. Like besides just he's born and he just wants to eat the wristband. He just rips it off. Like, oh, again, it's just like I think last episode I predicted that like. I forgot exactly what I even predicted, but I was like, that Claudia and they're going to meet up and maybe they save her or there's a reasoning behind it. It's like, no, it's just the whole season. It was just there turning purple. And then by the end, it's like, oh, it just got ripped off. I mean,
Yep.
it would have been just as crazy if she was running and ran into a tree and it ripped. I was like, oh, I'm good.
Yep.
Like,
You didn't need the dragon, but of course, like it's an additional thing to add to the dragon being hatched is where like the dragon does its first official duty to be like inclusive with the group, and that's what that was.
maybe, yeah. I would have liked something else. I would have liked it to be something else, or again, if they even said like it can only be ripped by a dragon's teeth. It was just so random. That's all.
I wish Callum was the first person that Zim saw, because I feel like because the common like phrase of like when the first person you see is like your mother when you're born. And I just wish, since like Ezrin has bait, Callum should have Zim as like essentially like Aang Zappa, like really.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. And so like
It might be still.
Right, but all I'm saying is in terms of like the imagery, I just wish Callum was, because bait was the first one that Zim saw instead of Callum. That's all I'm saying.
It's like if Aang opened his eyes and it was Sokka he saw for the first time. So here's my sister too. Oh, it's like there's something about it, where
Right.
it's like the first person he saw was Callum, and then they had this connection throughout the series. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so
I'm sure that they will. It's just it would make sense as going forward.
Yeah. So going back to we'll kind of go away from that storyline, and then we go back to Siren and Claudia.
Soren.
I'm sorry, Soren. And yeah, so I mean, there was a couple kind of okay jokes that semi landed. He talks about the mountain being tall, and then she laughed at it, and then made a joke back, and he was like, "Well, I don't think you understand my original joke because that doesn't make sense." Which I thought was kind of funny, and I appreciated that. The farting joke was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
I laughed. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about comedy. Comedy to me is like the most subjective of all like, I guess you could say media. I don't know, reactions. Like, it's like me and you can sit down and watch an action movie, and it's like, yeah, for the most part, action movies either they're good or bad. Horror movies, it's like, yeah, I was either scared or I wasn't. Like comedy is like very raw, and it's like if you don't think it's funny, it's just not going to land. If you think it's funny, then that scene worked for you. So unfortunately, the show is very hit or miss. So it's very much like collectively, I almost feel like collectively, a show like Avatar: The Last Airbender or a lot of different shows, like usually when there's a joke, most people think it's funny. This show, it's one of the shows that does this the most that I think I've ever watched. It's so hit or miss. It's just so hit or miss for me.
Yeah. It's true.
I watch different shows. I'm like, either they try to be funny and it's like, it doesn't land, or
Right.
it's like, oh, it's really funny. This was a great funny scene, and then
Hmm.
they'll try to do it again, and you're like, dude, oh my god. But then you might love the joke, so it's like it's just so much the person and how they're feeling.
It's true.
So they're you doing their journey. They go on top of the mountain. They do the spell to find the crew, the group.
Hmm.
It shows that they're not too far away, probably, I don't know, maybe a mile away, give or take. Um, and the episode essentially ends with the group all on the mountain, and then it kind of um goes back to Varen, and he's looking like he did last episode, a little bit dark, a little bit like not a human, and he's looking into the distance, and he sees the spell being created. Which, by the way, it seemed very close.
Very close.
Like it seemed like you could have gotten there in about 3 hours. Um, I mean, it seems pretty
Sure.
close. I mean, it
Yeah.
seemed like the distance between. I mean, it seemed like the distance, just to kind of put it in like real world situation. It seemed probably the difference between like half the distance between Baltimore and DC.
Yeah.
I mean, he was looking at the magic. He was looking at the mountain.
Yeah.
Like 30 miles,
Yep.
25 miles. And I
Hmm.
don't think that takes a week. I mean, they did a lot of it by boat, so
Right.
which is whatever. I mean, I'm that's nitpicking, but yeah. I mean,
It was
I,
weak. Like they literally could have just had. They could have just added time if they wanted to in the last episode, where they're Claudia and Soren are just going up on the mountain, and then it cuts to Viren, and then that's the end of the season. You
yeah.
didn't need the gang stuff. Besides the dragon, like yeah, the dragon hatched, like that's important. But like,
Well, yeah. It's just this was a 2 episode arc. I feel like with this new
yeah,
girl Alice and Ava that they meet. And this whole quest to go on top of the mountain, and they introduce things like the arm and the wrist, the seal, a couple episodes ago. I mean, obviously there's some things that got tied up that they introduced earlier, but it
right.
just felt like this was like a 2 episode arc.
Yeah.
Even make an argument, a 3 episode arc, like a small mini 3 episode arc and it's like every one of them felt like filler. It was like, okay, they have this egg that they're traveling. Cool, we're on the journey, and this snow hits the egg, and the egg freezes. All right, what do we do with the egg? Let's go to this town, and let's split up, and let's talk to a doctor. And then, oh, we hear this story about this little girl that goes to a mountain, and she gets healed. So let's just see if that works. Oh, never mind, the mountain, it's actually just illusions from this elf
Right.
that and oh, it's like it just felt like such a weird plot, and it was like I was just really like loving the series after 6 episodes, and
Right.
it's like, oh, let's really see where we're going here, and then it's just kind of this weak plot of
Right.
of the last 3 episodes, and that's why I'm not taking it out in the series. Like I think the series overall is good. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the characters, I like where it's going, but this was just a weird 3 episode arc towards the end of
Hmm.
season one. At the end of season one,
I agree.
so. Well, I mean, I know we went through that fast, but we're going to have a little bit more of a lengthy discussion about everything else. We also didn't want to make it too much of a longer episode because we did not like the episode, and I think the episodes we like we're going to make a little longer, and the episodes we don't like we're probably going to make a little shorter.
He's just making an excuse.
Nah, I'm not. So yeah, guys. I mean, let us know again. Let us know below. If you like this episode, why did you like it? Maybe we'll appreciate some things that we didn't see before that you liked. If you don't like the episode, chime in. Let us know. And just let us know what your least favorite episode and favorite episode are of season one. Because
Yeah.
we are curious. I know a couple of you guys said, I think episode 6 was one of your favorite episodes. I read. I personally really enjoyed like 4 and 5. I thought it was probably the strength of the series of the season so far. So let us know what you think. Again, in 2 days from now, we're going to be putting out the review of the entire first season. And then starting next week, after this episode releases, the week after this episode releases, we're going to be putting out our season 2 reactions. It's going to be a reaction/review in one episode. So check those out as well. Again, please subscribe to us. We do a bunch of reviews, reactions, anime reactions, some live action reaction stuff. And we're going to be doing the Cabbage Crew podcast as well. So for next time, guys, we will see you.